Did anybody else notice that Donald Trump just blinked? Another Trump always chickens out moment when it comes to the Federal Reserve and his quote unquote firing offense of Jay Powell. Jay Powell just kicked, as the Federal Reserve chairman, just kicked Donald Trump's ass during a gotcha inspection of the Federal Reserve renovation and remodeling and reconstruction projects. And then after he kicked his ass, standing next to him, where Donald Trump tried a gotcha moment to point out that maybe the cost overruns for the project to redo the Federal Reserve, which sits on swampland and is over 80 years old, filled with asbestos and structural fatigue and other problems, that there was another $3.1 million. I got it right here, Jay Powell. And Jay Powell said, let me look at that. He said, that has to do with a building that was built 5 years ago when you were president. And then Donald Trump goes outside without Jay Powell and says, everything's fine with Jay Powell. I'm Michael Popok. I'm going to tell you what really happened. This is like magic for humans. I'm going to tell you what really happened and why Donald Trump folded, as we predicted and we expected, in his asinine fight with the Federal Reserve, because the American people spoke, and 70% in polling said we don't want Donald Trump screwing around with the independence of the Federal Reserve and its impact on the U.S. economy. And other polling has said that Donald Trump has lost independence, just like he did in 2017, 2018, 2019, which is why he lost the 2020 election. And put those two things together and phone calls from Wall Street, and Donald Trump comes out literally singing a whole different tune when he leaves the tour of the Federal Reserve. I'll break it all down for you right here in the morning edition of Legal AF. Thank you for joining. Hit the free subscribe button. You're going to want this kind of content, and I want to keep us on the air, so all you got to do is hit the subscribe button. All right, what happened? The United States, you got to go back to May. The United States Supreme Court, in a ruling concerning Gwen Wilcox, who headed at one time the National Labor Relations Board, drew a ring fence of security around Jay Powell, the Federal Reserve, and said in their opinion, don't touch the Federal Reserve chairman. You can't fire him, Donald Trump. You can fire lots of people. You can fire lots of heads of different boards and different things that Congress created for the executive branch. Congress gives birth to these executive agencies, and now they're under your Article 2 power, but you can't fire the Federal Reserve. They said it. They said it in the opinion involving Gwen Wilcox. They said that the Federal Reserve was not like the National Labor Relations Board or the Department of Education or the Merit Protection Service Board or any of the other boards that he was firing. The ones that run Voice of America, the ones that run the Kennedy Center, because it was similar to the Federal Reserve, the first and second banks of America, the ones Alexander Hamilton was involved with, and we're not going to let you fire them without cause. Now, first, Donald Trump and all of his minions, and it's really being pushed by a guy named Pulte, who, if you live in the South, you knew Pulte Homes. Yeah, he's the Nepo baby son of Pulte Homes. And he loves low interest rates, because how do you sell a lot of new construction sitting in Georgia and throughout the Southeast? You need low interest rates. You need low mortgages. So he's just a low mortgage hawk. It's all he wants. It's all he cares about. So from his perch in the head of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, these quasi-private entities that deal with the mortgage market, he's been attacking Jay Powell left and right because the Trump administration told him to. It's the full court press against Jay Powell, led by this guy, Pulte. Pulte has, 50 million followers on his TikTok or whatever he's got. And he's, at Donald Trump's request, going after Jay Powell. And then others, Representative Looney Luna down in Florida for Donald Trump. I was just at a meeting with Donald Trump. He's going to fire Jay Powell. He's not going to fire Jay Powell. He was never going to fire Jay Powell. Now, he wants the interest rates to go down. Okay. There's a reason they're not going down. He points to other European countries and other countries of our allies who have cut the rates 20 or 30 times in the last 6 months. Yeah, but they have different economies than we do. And they're looking at different data than our Federal Reserve and the Open Markets Committee that sets rates is looking at. There are 3 giant buildings devoted to the Federal Reserve, filled with analysts, filled with economists, who all they do from the minute they get up in the morning, brush their teeth until they hit their head hits the bed at night, the pillow, is looking at economic data, both internal domestic economic data, global economic data, and fitting them all together, as only economists should. And they issue reports. The governors, there's 13 of them, led by the Federal Reserve chairperson. They look at the data and they decide on rates. And what they're trying to avoid in this country, I don't know about Japan, Germany, the European Union. I care about this country and its manufacturing and service engines of the economy. And that's what our central bank is supposed to be focused on. And they are. And Donald Trump isn't, because he's got these crazy tariff plans, which are not working, all right? There's no Trumponomics because it's not helping the American people. They don't call it that. And so our Federal Reserve has not cut the rates. They may cut the rates in July and later this month or beginning of the next rate cut time. They may. They're trying to avoid stagflation, stagnant economic growth through the GDP, gross domestic product, and inflation, high rising prices. We've already got the high rising prices, and we're starting to see the sputtering of the economic engine. And that's what they're trying to avoid with rate cuts. And if they rate cut, it's because it's right thing to do for our economy, not because Donald Trump is pressuring it. So Donald Trump figures out from that May Supreme Court decision that the only way he can fire is for cause under the Federal Reserve Act, a law which sets up the Federal Reserve. So he tries to drum up the cause, the bad cause. Cost overruns at the Federal Reserve Reconstruction Project by $1 billion or whatever it is. Okay. Go to the Federal Reserve website. They got the wall of receipts. They explain what happened. There's 2 major buildings. We got 2020 and COVID. We've got logistics. We got the increase in steel prices, the increases of other building materials, and the fact that they hit a lot of structural problems. The thing is sitting on a swamp. All of DC is sitting on a swamp. These buildings haven't been renovated for over 80 or 90 years. And there's 2 of them, and they're trying to put them together. Donald Trump shows up with his walkabout tour with Tim Scott, and he thinks he's going to get Jay Powell with a gotcha. So he pulls out this piece of paper and says, well, look at this. It's really $3.1 billion over. He goes, let me see that piece of paper. You can see Jay Powell like resetting, like closing his eyes, pursing his lips. And he looks at it as a good economist, and he says, you've added in a building that was completed 5 years ago. In other words, while you were president. Well, it's a building. Yeah, it's a building from 5 years ago. Let's watch that clip, and then we'll go to the clip at the end of the tour.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
That's our entire capital plan.
Yeah, you just added in a 3rd building is what that is. That's a 3rd building.
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work. What?
Is this project a fireable offense for Jerome Powell?
Look, I would love to see it completed. I don't want to put that in this category.
But could other countries buy it down?
Yeah, I would let other countries buy it down. Sure.
Mr. President, do you feel better or worse about your election?
Thank
Is
you.
it meant to put pressure on Jerome Powell to resign?
No, there's no pressure. No. We want to have, his term comes up soon. I think he's going to do the right thing. Everybody knows what the right thing is. Even people that believed in, the higher rates, they're all on board. They all want to see the interest rates come down. It's very important.
Mr. President,
Do you think
if
it's
he doesn't do the right thing and cut interest rates, as he said, will you then consider?
I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think so.
Now, body language experts have looked at that and say that Jay Powell got the better of Donald Trump. That Donald Trump was busy stammering and very low tone and looking at his shoes a lot. Took off his hard hat at one point because he looked ridiculous, in his conversation. And Jay Powell just like, I can't believe I have to stand next to this idiot. and I am smarter than you, and I am the smartest one in this room, which he is. And he looked at it and he said, well, you're including a building from 5 years ago, meaning the Trump building approved. So Trump figures out when he gets done with this that he should not, given the polling, given all of Wall Street, rallying around the Federal Reserve and its independence. He goes outside without Jay Powell, and here's how he responds to reporters' questions about his relationship with Jay Powell and whether he's going to fire him. Let's roll that. Taco, Trump always chickens out. And that's a good thing for the American economy. Because the only thing that's tethering the American economy to the U.S., the American economy, the global economy, are the actions and the adult in the room that is Jay Powell. If we let Donald Trump continue to run and grind our economy into the ground, there won't be an economy left for you and me to talk about come the midterms. They're out bragging in front of the Federal Reserve. Tim Scott, I don't know what economic program he graduated from. This is the best economy ever. It's not. It's not. Jobs are being created. Jobs are not being created any faster pace than under Joe Biden or under Democrats. In fact, it was higher with them. We got money coming in. Well, I hope you got money coming in. Oh, we're collecting money on tariffs, but you're not collecting money on the tax cuts. More's coming in that's going out. That's not true. We have trillions and trillions of dollars on the big, beautiful budget bill of Donald Trump being heaped on our national deficit and our national debt. All a lie. They will say anything out loud in order to, I don't know what, stop the bleeding of their economic policies and programs. Wall Street knew that Donald Trump was going to fold on his attack on Jay Powell. We knew it. You knew it. Congress knew it. People within the inner circle of Donald Trump, his Commerce Secretary, Treasury Secretary, told him from the very beginning, you can't take out Jay Powell. And now he's not going to. And that's a good thing. It's also a reflection of how poorly Donald Trump is doing with the American people and the economy. New polling is out. Independents are the canary in the coal mine for the Trump administration. And he's like almost 40 points underwater with independents, including concerning the way he's running or mismanaging the economy. And we're 6 months in. And this is after the big, beautiful bill was passed, now that the red states realized they've been injured terribly, grievously by Donald Trump's policies. So I'm going to continue to follow it all right here. You're on Legal AF. Hit the free subscribe button. Continue to help us grow this pro-democracy channel. Come over to Legal AF, the Substack, where we post all of these filings and articles, and with a new analysis. Legal AF, the Substack, also for free. No paywall here. Now more than ever, you see what's happening to people who are giving commentary on television. They're getting fired. Keep us on the air. Hit the subscribe button. Until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.